Alright guys, we're going to be starting a video here in a moment. I guess I already started it, but Becca has to grab something from the car and I just figured we'd just sit here and see what she's grabbing. I have no idea what she's grabbing. Oh no. Oh no, here she comes. Oh.
Are you recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man, this is a sad day. Becca is super excited about this hat that she bought. I'm surprised you don't have the sunglasses on too.
Well, I thought about it and I figured that'd be overkill.
Yeah, well, that's overkill. The glass, like anything with Ravens, would be overkill. But we do have matching cups today. Today's episode is sponsored by
Turvis.
Under Armour. Because I have an Under Armour jacket on.
Well, wouldn't that mean that you sponsor them, not they sponsor
I have
us?
an Under Armour shirt on.
I have underwear on.
I have... Oh, I knew I forgot something. I have Under Armour pants on. It's not an Under Armour hat, though, because I was going to wear my Under Armour hat, but, I mean, this is already reflecting enough light. The white one would have just been like...
I'm not really going to wear a hat, though. Yeah, actually I am. I didn't realize it was actually.
That's kind of why I wear the hats for the videos,
Yeah,
to keep the sun out of my
I didn't realize
eyes a little bit.
that
And it's at an odd angle up here. So, finally, I've been binge watching American Horror Story for the past month and a half, 2 months. I'm finally on the last season that they had out. And they're not done yet, but it's the last season they've had out, 1984. But we're going to do our rankings one by one. You know, so we're going to have our least favorite episode today, and then we're just going to go up. I do want to emphasize, though, that least favorite does not mean that we didn't like it.
For me it does.
Oh, yeah, for you it does. I
I did
know
not.
that some of them we agree on, especially when we get towards the top of the scale, but I know we definitely have differences of opinion. Hold on. Oh, that's just an Instagram notification. You know, I have 2 Instagram accounts.
Why?
Well, one's just about my photography, and the other one's more my plant-based stuff. So, but anywho, I know we have differences of opinion on the lower end. Upper end, I think we agree on our top 2. But, you know, I don't want to talk about that too much until we get there, because then we won't have much to talk about when we get there.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, that was a text message. I should reply to that. I am not a loser. I am not a loser. I'm a winner. That's what my mom tells me.
That's not what Mom says about you.
Alright, so there have been 9 seasons of American Horror Story so
That's
far.
one less than 10.
That's 1 less than 10. 1 more than 8.
True that.
I wish I would have wrote down when it started. It started in 2011?
I don't know.
Something like that. With Murder House. And what's cool about American Horror Story is that each season is its own. For those of you that have never watched American Horror Story, each season is its own story. There are some connections in there which we'll talk about, but you don't, except for Apocalypse, which you should watch when later on, because that's probably the season where they have the most connections. And you would probably, I think it'd be a good idea to watch Apocalypse towards the end. Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Oh man, now we have to wait till she comes back. Are you taking that hat off?
No.
She's not. Do you need a drink? Do you need a snack? Are you getting pizza?
I wish.
Oh. Anywho, so each season is its own story. Now we will be talking about spoilers, so if you haven't watched it and you don't want to know what happens, this is your time to stop watching. What are you doing? Why are you moving the flower pot? What are you doing? Why are you just dumping the dirt? She just dumped the dirt out of the flower pot.
It's old dirt. It's from last year.
It is old dirt, but you can at least put it...
Guess what you are?
Flower child?
Yeah.
Alright, so, Becca, what is your least favorite season? Cult. You're wrong. And I will talk about why I like Cult when I get to that. Speaking of which, my rankings are changing. I had a ranking before I rewatched it, and I'm going to do, even though my least favorite didn't change. I think my ranking is changing. I do like those sunglasses.
I know, right?
My ranking will be changing. I don't know, like the top 2 are going to stay the same, and Freak Show is definitely my least favorite. But I think other than that, things are definitely going to be moving around. But Freak Show is my least favorite. Now, there was a lot I didn't care much for. Just the concept of it, I didn't care much for. There were some elements that I liked, though.
Like water and wind and air.
Well, sadly, Jessica Lange, and she's like the queen of American Horror Story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was the last season where she played a starring role. And the send-off was actually pretty good. She did die. Which is sad.
What?
She did die. But, you know, without getting too much into the season, it actually was a good send-off for her. Now, she does come up again later in the rankings, and, you know, as far as, like, she is in another season after that, but not in a starring role. But these are the elements that I did like in it. So, what was cool is they used newer music, even though it's set in the 60s, I think. Does that sound about right to you? Roughly, maybe 50s, late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there.
Like around when you were born.
Around when I was born. Set upon, back in the old days, they had carnivals with, I'm going to say, I don't even like saying it. How would you say that? I don't want to offend anyone. That's not what I do, but well, it's called a freak show. Let's just put it that way. So, the whole...
Anybody with a deformity.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Differently.
But they did a good job giving respect to that.
Physical deformity.
Yeah, I just wasn't crazy for the concept of the show. And then they just threw in a clown.
That was pretty gross.
Twisty the clown. Now, not that I'm scared of clowns. They're just not my thing. Either scary clowns or, fun clowns. It's just, that actually probably was the better part of the show, was the Twisty the clown.
And I have to say that, the whole character of Dandy in that season.
Which one was Dandy? Oh, yeah.
That was just annoying to me. And
he does an excellent job. I can't think of the actor's name, but he does an excellent job at that spoiled rich guy.
He does, and that spoiled rich guy is just really annoying, which I guess is the point, but...
He kind of plays that same kind of character in another season. The spoiled rich guy character. But yeah, I think he was in 2 seasons of American Horror Story.
So let me tell you what I liked about Cult. It is the fact that when it ended, I felt like there was so much political crap going on at the time that I didn't want to hear any more of it.
But here's the thing, though, and I'm going to get into why I like it when I get to that. But, I think that was the point of it, though.
It was the point, yes, And it was kind of like a parody of everything going on. But I was so sick of everything going on.
Yeah, and I certainly, because that was...
It was like overkill on what was already going on.
Because I think that came out in 2017, the year after the election. Yes, it did. It came out in 2017.
And I was done hearing about the election by then.
Yeah.
I was done hearing about the election before...
In 2014.
Before, yeah. Like, in 91, I was done hearing about that election.
Wait a minute, you were born in 91.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, so, but there was, I mean, I think if you would watch that again and look at the underlying elements of that season, you might think a little bit differently about that. But I certainly understand where you're coming from. You know, like, I think we're all tired of the political stuff. But I think when I talk about it, I'll talk about some of the underlying elements of that, and maybe you
can't see my...
I'm not saying that you'll move it up, but maybe you'll like it a little better.
I'm not gonna move it up.
But anywho, what was cool in the Freak Show is they used newer music. They used like Fiona's Apple, and Nirvana in their storylines. So it was set in the 50s or 60s, but yet so the characters were singing music from like the 80s, 90s, and I don't think there was anything from the 2000s. Some of the music I didn't know. But it was all music by people that were viewed as outsiders. Like Kurt Cobain was like an outsider. Fiona Apple was definitely an outsider. She was not one of the popular ones.
I don't think I saw either one of them in the movie The Outsiders.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Neither have I, so I definitely wouldn't have seen them if they were in it.
The author of that, S.E. Hinton, was one of my favorite authors when I was growing up. But I don't think I've read the book, but I don't think I've ever seen the movie. Back when I was in junior high, because that's how old I am, because they called it junior high back in the day. Now they call it middle school. But I will say, okay, so this is another thing that I liked in the show. Out of all of the seasons, I think that this had one of those most touching moments of the series.
When it ended?
Well, that I did like that part, but like the ending credits coming up. But one of the most touching... Did you rewatch Freak's Show yet, or no? Because I know you started watching it again, but then you stopped.
Yeah, I've been busy dealing with stuff.
Yeah. But one of the most touching moments of the whole series, I believe, was when Elsa, who is Jessica Lange's character, she... I wrote my notes. I have notes on here. And then I moved to the Rocketbook notebook that Bekah got me for my birthday. But this is my old notebook. Whenever Elsa, because she goes to find these deformed people, and one of them is Pepper. Pepper was also in Asylum, which occurred after Freak Show chronologically. But Asylum happened... it gets too confusing. Asylum was season 2. Season 2. Freak Show was season 4. So, but one of the most touching episodes was whenever she was trying to help Pepper by taking Pepper to her sister. Because she was trying to give Pepper a better life outside of the Freak Show. And they're crying. Elsa thought she was doing the right thing by taking her to her long-lost sister. Well, it turns out, though, her sister was not a good person. She framed the sister and the sister's husband framed Pepper for killing their son. And then that's why she was put into Briarcliff Asylum.
That was really rude of them.
Yeah, but Elsa Mars thought she was doing a good thing, but it turned out she wasn't. But one of the things where they're in Asylum during the Freak Show season was that, what's interesting about American Horror Story is they have no qualms about the same actor playing different characters, and then they just completely ignore the fact that they look the exact same. Because in there, Sister Mary, who turns out to not... She ends up getting possessed by the devil in the Asylum story. But this is before that happens. they're cleaning up these magazines, and on picture in one of the magazines is Elsa Mars.
What?
But Jessica Lange
I should have done the spit.
is one of the head nun in Asylum. So, you know, like, American Horror Story doesn't care about that kind of stuff, that these people could look the exact same, and we're just supposed to ignore that. But one of the saddest moments was Pepper going to Asylum. So it had one of the most touching moments when Jessica Lange, Elsa Mars, was trying to do the right thing, you know, trying to help Pepper, but then it turns out that that was not a good thing. So anywho, anything that you want to add?
Just cult sucks. That's despite your arguments, that's still my least favorite.
Yeah, but I will have more of an argument, because I didn't really have a good argument on purpose today. But I'll have more of an argument when I get to that. And I don't know, who knows? Like I said, my rankings are changing.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I don't know
Maybe
exactly
tomorrow
when that'll
you'll
happen.
come to your senses and see the cult was annoying.
Well, I'm definitely not going to make Freak Show move up.
I'm not gonna argue about Freak Show now. If you get into, like, there's one that you didn't like as much, but then you liked it more the second time around that I would have argued more about. But we're not gonna go into that right now.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to be the next one. So, you know, so that was number 9 for the two of us. Number 9 for you was Cult. Number 9 for me was Freak Show. So what will number 8 be? This is where I need to rethink my rankings, because some of these might change. The rest I like. I do like the rest of the seasons. And there were elements of Freak Show that I liked. I just would have changed some stuff, a lot of stuff up with that. A lot of it. Most of it. Plus, we would have kept Jessica Lange around a little bit longer after that.
Yeah, I don't think she should have been allowed to leave.
Jessica Lange, yeah.
Yeah, we discussed that one day. I think, you know, she's one of my favorite actresses in the series.
Yeah, I mean...
I think she is my favorite. Her or Kathy Bates.
Oh, yeah, Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
What's cool about Kathy Bates is she can play any character, like
in
anything.
Like a warm, nice mother figure that, you know, worships Satan, or she can, you know, play.
She could play an evil person that's not good at all. She could play a semi-evil person where she has.
She could play a psycho that abducts somebody and, like, breaks their legs at 2x4s.
Or she was in a movie with Melissa McCarthy a few years back, where it was a completely different from her, but she did an excellent job in that.
Oh, The Boss, right?
Was it The Boss? I don't remember.
Something like that.
No, it wasn't The Boss. Tammy. I think it was Tammy. Whenever Melissa McCarthy went to rob that place with a paper bag over her hand. Anywho, alright guys, so that's number 9. So I'm going to be, I don't know if we'll make another video this week. Becca is done, so, but post your opinion. What is number 9 for you guys? Alright guys, have a great one.